Hello everyone. Today we are going to discuss about anatomy and physiology. I'm going to share my thoughts and what I have studied in my first year BSc nursing. I'm preparing this based on the first year BSc nursing students. I have gone through the syllabus and I'm just prepared a basic information which they have to know regarding the anatomy and physiology. So I'm preparing this in slides. So if you want only the slides, you can visit my blog, which is in the name of Nursing Abstract, and we are just going to see the basic things. So if you want more information regarding this, you can refer. So here we go. Definition of anatomy: it is the study of structure of the body and the physical relationship between its constituent parts. So it's very clearly understood. There are so many definitions, but even though I've selected this because it's very simple and clearly explained, so I have referred this Ross and Wilson book for anatomy and physiology. So it is the study of structure of the body. So we are going to study regarding the structure in the sense it's about the shape, size, color. That is the basic structure. What is or how it is looking while looking at the body. So for example, if you are seeing your heart, we can say what is the structure, what is the color, how many chambers are there. So it is called as anatomy. Okay, and the physical relationship between its constituent parts. So many parts are there. So once again, we're taking the heart. We are saying what is the constituent part, what is the adjacent part, what is nearer to the heart. Lungs are there. So what is at the front? It is protected by the rib cage. So like that, what is nearby that particular part. So explaining that also, it is called as anatomy. So for example, if you are taking a mobile phone, for example, I'm telling for taking the mobile phone, anatomy is just seeing the mobile phone and you're saying that it is this much length and this much breadth, this is the color and what are the buttons in that. So just by looking, what you can say is called as anatomy. And next, definition of physiology: it is the study of how the body system work and the ways in which their integrated activities maintain life and health of the individual. So this one also, it is a study of how the body system works. So by just not by seeing, but how it is working. So for example, I'm taking example as a heart. So we are saying that the heart is pumping. It is the one which supplies blood to all the parts of the body. So what is the function? We're explaining the function and how it is functioning. So from where the heart is getting blood supply. So what are deoxygenated and oxygenated bloods are there. So how it is working, what we are explaining is called as physiology. And next is the ways in which their integrated activities maintain the life and health of the individual. So if the heart is functioning, so we are excuse me. So in this, the ways in which the integrated activities, so by taking the activities of the heart, how it is maintaining the life and health of the individual. For a healthy person, how it is functioning. So explaining that is called as the physiology. Okay, so for example, I'm taking again the phone. So I told that already, that the size, shape, by looking how we are saying is called as the anatomy. For physiology, how it is functioning, what are the features, we told about the features. Then we are going each and every features, we are going inside, we are just exploring, no. So that is called as the physiology. So why I want to clear mainly about the difference between anatomy and physiology is, you will get both of them in different papers. So if one paper you are very well versed and you are again writing the same thing on physiology, then you won't get marks. So anatomy you should be very clear that what is anatomy. It's about the size, shape, structure. By what you're looking at is called anatomy. Physiology is how it is working. So next one is cell. So you may think that each and every topics are very unique and different, that it is not related, but I'm not taking it in a long manner. If I'm taking each and every topics, then you will get I can't finish it is in a single video. So I'm taking each and what is the important thing that you needed to know about the introduction of anatomy and physiology. So cell, it is the smallest independent unit of the living matter. So for something to live in this world, it needs a cell. Okay, so that is it's the smallest independent unit for a living matter. If anything is living, it is only because of this cell. So in a body, trillions of cells are present. So in a human body, trillions of cells are being present. In a human body, cells with similar structures and functions found together forming tissues. So what is called as tissues is, in human body so many cells are present, but cells with similar structures, if it is a round shape or any other shape, cells with similar structures, they form together as tissues. Or if it is have a similar functions, functions in the sense like in the sense of clotting or elasticity, or some, what are the functions, if they have similar functions, they are formed together as tissues. These are the definition of cell. So internal environment and the external environment. So you can, it is very understood that internal means something inside, external means something it is outside. So internal, inside the body, it is a water based medium. You can see that something fluid and jelly it is inside, so it is a water based medium. And the cell is bathed in interstitial fluid or tissue fluid. So you can see here in this picture, some fluid is present inside the body, some fluid, it is called as interstitial fluid or tissue fluid. So the cell, blood cells, all the tissue cells, everything is bathed, which is bathed in this interstitial fluid. So source of oxygen and nutrients. So external environment, I am just writing the points, I am just explaining everything, but I am writing in points because it is not we can't explain everything in a single slide. Okay, so source of oxygen and nutrients. So what we are getting from outside, oxygen we are getting from the plants, so that is the source of oxygen and nutrients which are getting, that is the external environment. And the waste products which are excreted, bracket I am giving as skin. So waste product in the sense it's a urine or sweat or anything just excreted out, so it is called as the external environment. So plasma membrane, now we are going to discuss about the cell. In that plasma membrane is that, this is the one which is called as the green one, this is called the plasma membrane. So it in for a few further topics we can discuss detailed about the cell. Okay, it encloses the cell which provides selective materials to pass through. This property is called as selective permeability. So all the cell particles, everything, the ribosomes, the plasmid, the everything which is enclosed cytoplasm, which is everything enclosed, that means it is enclosed in the sense it is just protecting, it is just covering everything. So that is called as the plasma membrane, and it also has a selective property, that is called as selective permeability, because it allows only selective materials to pass through, only which is needed for the cell it is allowing inside, which is not needed it is not accepting inside. That property is called as selective permeability. It can come as a 2 mark for you, so I have just taken this in a slide. Blood. Okay, everyone, we know about blood, what is blood, and we are going to study in detail about the blood components and everything. The blood transports substances around the body through a large network of blood vessels. So blood is there, but how it is going to all the parts of the body? Through a large network of blood vessels, it is going around the body. In an adult body, approximately 5 to 6 liters of blood are present. Okay, in adult body there are 5 to 6 liters of blood. So contents of blood, it consists of plasma, that is fluid, and the blood cells which is suspended in the plasma. So contents of the blood, it is having plasma and the blood cells. Plasma is mainly a fluid which is like watery substance, and the blood cells, which is blood cells, we are going to see in detail about the blood cells, okay, which is suspended in the plasma, like a water having so many blood cells. You can imagine like a cup of water having so many salt, sugar, everything like that, or any other components which you can add, that is called as the blood cells, okay. Plasma, it consists mainly water with many substances dissolved in it, okay. It consists mainly of water with many substances dissolved in it. It consists of nutrients absorbed from the alimentary canal. So mainly it consists of the nutrient which is direct. Alimentary canal means the digestive system, the large intestine, the small intestine, everything. So that is the alimentary canal, here it is mentioned. So it consists of the nutrients which is absorbed. So oxygen absorbed from the lungs, it also consists of the oxygen which is being absorbed from the lungs. The blood is the one, okay, the blood is the one which so here I have to mention that the oxygen contained blood is called as the oxygenated blood, and it contained carbon dioxide, that is called as the deoxygenated blood. So in further topics we can study, but I am just mentioning here. So the chemical substances synthesized by the body cells, it also contains the chemical substance, that is the hormones. You can see, you can come across many hormones in your body. So progesterone, estrogen, growth hormone, so many hormones are there. So it also contains the hormones, which is called chemical substance synthesized by the body cells. And the waste materials, excuse me. So waste materials produced by all the cells to be eliminated from the body for excretion. So the waste materials which is produced by all the cells to be eliminated by the excretion, like the urine, I already told, excretion for urine, or by through motion, everything, whatever things you have, the waste materials, so it is being present in the plasma. So I have just mentioned the points, I have not written in sentence, okay. You should develop this into a sentence. Why my main purpose of putting this slide is, while going for examination or you want to review a topic, you just don't want to go through all the parts of chapters of the book so that you get disturbed. So when you get going for a exam, you just go through the slides, so it just refreshes your mind with all the important points. That's why I have just mentioned the points, okay. So blood cells. So we have seen that the blood contains plasma and the blood cells. So the blood cells are suspended in plasma. The three main components are erythrocytes, also called as RBC, leukocytes called as WBC, platelets called as thrombocytes. These are the three main blood cells. So erythrocytes, RBC. This is a normal RBC, the red blood cells. Is a sickle cell, it is a abnormal cell. So it transports oxygen and sometimes carbon dioxide between the lungs and the body cells. So erythrocytes, the main function, it transports oxygen and sometimes carbon dioxide also between the lungs and the body cells, it is being transported. So leukocytes, we have seen that WBC, it provides immunity against infection and foreign substances. So when we have a fever, or if we have something abnormal in our body, we automatically tend to get a fever. So at that time they check our blood, they'll tell, go and give a blood test. So immediately they say for any infection, this WBC will be, the WBC counts will be very high. So it shows that there is some infection or foreign substances which is being present in our body. So when the body needs some immunity, when it is attacking something, automatically the WBC count goes high. So they are larger and numerous than erythrocytes. Erythrocytes in the sense RBC. So size wise they are larger, and the number wise also they are more than the RBCs. There are 5 types of WBCs such as monocyte, lymphocyte, neutrophils, eosinophils and basophils. These also can come as a 2-mark question. So these are monocytes, lymphocytes, eosinophils, basophils and the neutrophils. So platelets. So what we see here is the RBC, and what we see is smaller here is the platelets. They are also called as thrombocytes. They are tiny cell fragments mainly used for blood clotting. When you have a cut or anything in a main injury in your head or somewhere in your fingers, it is very common to have a cut in our fingers. So at that time, at first there will be a lot of blood coming out from your cut or wound, but after some time you can see that the blood is not coming, it is being clot, some clot is being happen. It's mainly because of this platelets. It form a mesh like substance and it prevents blood from entering out, so it provides a clotting material. So that is only because of this platelets. Okay, so pH scale, it means the potential of hydrogen. The explanation is potential of hydrogen. You have come across this pH scale in your school times, but this is the detailed explanation. It is a scale used to measure the acidity or basicity of the aqueous solution. Any aqueous solution which is found to be acidic or basic, which is being determined, which is being found only using this pH scale. It ranges from 0 to 14. 7 is neutral, pH less than 7 is acidic and greater than 7 is basic. So I am clearly explaining you. A scale which is containing 14, 0 to 14, 7 is neutral, usually water, that is the neutral substances, and if you are going down, it is called as weakly acidic. 4 to 7 is weakly acidic. Going down and down and down, it provides the strong acidic solution. In the same way, 7 to 10, it provides a weakly alkaline solution, and if the count is more than that, it becomes strongly alkaline. Alkaline means the basicity of the solution. Okay, so when the pH is below 7.4, 7.35, all the reserves of alkaline buffers are used and acidosis exists. So what is the explanation is, when the pH is below 7.35 means automatically it is called the acidic solution. Yes, it is called the acidic solution. So what happens is, the acidity is more in that solution and the alkaline effect is very little bit. It's only having a little bit of alkaline effect. So all the reserves, whatever alkaline effect is in the body is being used up, and only the acidity is being increased, and that is called as acidosis. So when the pH is above 4.5, it is called vice versa, it is coming. Now the pH is above 7.45, all the acid reserves are used up and alkalosis exists. So in the, when you are going to a ward or when you are going to see patient, the patient is acidosis, the patient is alkalosis, we can come across this term. So it means that you should remember what does it mean. Okay, it means all the acid reserves are being used and the alkaline effect, that the basicity is more in the body, that is called as alkalosis. And acidosis means all the basic substances are being used up and the acidic part is more in the body, that is called as acidosis. So the body tend to produce more acid than alkali. So usually you can come across so many hydrochloric acid, so many acidity in the body. So you can come across so many acidic formation in the body. So it is tend to produce more acidic than alkali. Kidneys regulate the blood pH by adjusting the excretion of hydrogen and bicarbonate ion. So the kidneys also help, kidneys and lungs, these are the two substances which help to maintain the blood pH. Okay, so kidneys regulate the blood pH by adjusting the excretion of hydrogen ion and bicarbonate ion. Here the hydrogen ion, this part is called as the hydrogen ion and this part is called as the bicarbonate ion. In shorter you can say that the H plus ion and the bicarbonate HCO3. So if the pH is down, the pH is low, H plus ion excretion is high. So pH is low means we can say that what is that acidicity. If the acidicity is low, acidicity is low in the body, then the low in the sense, sorry, if the pH is low, it is called the acidic part is more in the body. So the hydrogen ion excretion is high because the acidic part is more in the body. So what is what they are proving, that they are excreting more amount of hydrogen ion, and which they are the hydrogen ion, more amount of excretion hydrogen ion is increased. If the pH is above, what is pH is high? pH is high in the sense the bicarbonate ion is more in the body, so the body will automatically tend to produce more bicarbonate ion excretion. The body is tend to excreting more amount of bicarbonate ion, so it is coming as vice versa. So in shorter, if the pH is low, pH is low means what? The acidity is more in the body, so the body will automatically excreting more amount of hydrogen. If the pH is high, more amount of alkaline is present in the body, the body will excrete more amount of bicarbonate ion. Okay, so the lungs help to control the pH. I told you that the kidney and the lung, these are the two major parts which help to control the pH. So the lungs help to control the pH by regulating the levels of excreted carbon dioxide. So there we see that the hydrogen and the bicarbonate ion which helps in regulating the pH. Here the carbon dioxide plays a major, because lungs, which mainly comprises of the oxygen and the carbon dioxide, so the carbon dioxide plays a major role. If the H plus ion, that means is increased, if H plus ion in the sense the acidity is increased, the brain will cause increased breathing and releases carbon dioxide, and the H plus ion will become low. So it is easily understood that if the H plus ion is more means what? The brain causes increased breathing. So increased breathing in the sense what the carbon dioxide is more inside the body, which causes the difficulty in breathing, and it releases the carbon dioxide out, and the acidic part, the H plus ion will become low. Same vice versa, if the blood pH become basic, the H plus 3 ion is increased. What happened? Basic in the sense H plus 3 ion is increased, then the brain will lower the respiration, lower the breathing, and the carbon dioxide will increase. So the carbon dioxide is much more needed in the body. The brain will produce automatically, the brain will reduce the breathing, and it causes the carbon dioxide level to increase. So it is understood in the written format. So it is coming in here. See, carbon dioxide plus water. I have written here carbon dioxide plus water, that is it produces H2CO3, that is the carbonic acid. It formation of carbonic acid is there. HCO3, so how it is splitting it as bicarbonate ion and H plus ion, hydrogen ion. So in lungs automatically this carbon dioxide and water is already present in the body, in the lungs, mainly in the lungs. So carbon dioxide plus water, they are forming this acid, carbonic acid, and automatically it diffuses into HCO3. So CO3 is coming. So H2 is there. So one H is coming here and another H is coming here as acidity. That is the hydrogen ion. Okay. So this is understood. So carbon dioxide must be eliminated mainly to maintain the pH range. So here in lungs, the pH range is automatically maintained by the carbon dioxide. So if the carbon dioxide is more in the body, then the automatically lungs tend to produce increased breathing, and it causes increase the release of carbon dioxide. The H plus ion will become low. So if there is a decreased breathing, the HCO3 ion is increased, so it causes decrease in breathing, and the carbon dioxide level will be increased. It is dissolved in the body fluids to make acidic solution. So how it is making acidic solution? It dissolves in the body fluid. So increased carbon dioxide leads to increased acidity. So if the body is tending to produce more acidity, then the carbon dioxide level will be high in the body. So up to that is the pH, the potential of hydrogen. Now we are moving to a new topic of atoms and molecules. So this diagram you can see electrons. There are two electrons, 1, 2, and this is the nucleus. Nucleus is a small one, and these are the neutrons, and these are the protons. Here you can see protons are positive and the electrons are negative, and neutrons have no charge. Now every time you are studying something, please study with the diagram, so it would be easier for you to write in the exam. Just you can remember that if you are not remembering the points what you need to write about that, just draw that diagram, just mark it parts, then automatically your points will come. Through that you can explain it easily. In an atom, two main components are present. They are electrons and nucleus. So you have seen electrons are there and the nucleus. The nucleus is made up of protons and neutrons. The nucleus is made up of neutrons and protons. The nucleus is in the center and the electrons are revolving around it. It's understood that the nucleus is the center and the electrons which are revolving around it. Revolving is it is recirculating in the same position as round and round. That is the revolving. So the maximum number of electrons in each cell is 32 and the minimum is 2. So minimum 2 electrons are present in each shell. It is called as the shell. Okay, here each shell, and the electron is 32 and the maximum number is 32 and the minimum is 2. Okay. So now we are going to say about the electrons. They are negatively charged. As we said that they are negatively charged. They are revolving around the nucleus. Both opposite electric charge attract each other. Negative electrons are attracted towards positive nucleus. So we studied that the protons are positive and the electrons are negative. So because of this opposite charge, they are attracted towards each other, and the electrons is revolving around the nucleus. They are smaller than nucleus of an atom. So the electrons, by seeing you can say that the electrons are smaller than the nucleus of the atom. So protons and neutrons. Protons are positively charged and neutrons have no electrical charge. Okay, it's understood. Atomic number, you will see that the atomic number and the mass number, so many questions, so many sums will be coming later on in your 2 marks. So what is the atomic? They will give what number of protons, number of neutrons, and they will ask to write the atomic number. So what is atomic number is equal to the number of protons. How many protons are there present? It is called as the atomic number. Mass number is the number of protons plus number of neutrons. You have to add both, that gives you the mass number. So protons are bound together in atom's nucleus as a result of strong nuclear force. So because of a strong nuclear force, the protons is bound together in the atom's nucleus. So thank you. So this is the topic which we have covered in the first unit. So in the next unit we will see a new topic. So if you have any queries, you just post it in the comment section. And you can also visit my blog in the name of Nursing Abstract, and you can load the slides which we have seen in this video. Thank you so much.